You're live? There you go. Now we're live. There we go. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swiz, here with special guest today, Supercoach Mama. Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. It's I wish I could say I'm excited, but I'm a little bit disappointed by the team sheets. But anyway, we'll keep powering on.
We'll definitely have a lot to talk about with that. Before we get into that, as always, continue to check us out and support our podcast, Supercoach Insider 100 and Swiz26 for Twitter. And we have YouTube, TikTok, SoundCloud, Spotify. We are on it all. So definitely continue to support us. Chris and Ben put out their dual video yesterday. Sorry I was not there. I was celebrating my birthday. So naturally I had other things to do. But we are definitely here with teams out tonight. Well, we will get straight into it. Now, I've put up on the graphic too that you had a good score last week, 2,300, beat the Abs Magic Man, which I've got on the screen down there by 7 points. So both of you were flying last week. Any particular players or captains or anything that helped you get that nice score, or did you manage to just avoid the carnage?
Well, Bontempelli 182 as the VC kind of helped. And I avoided the carnage. I avoided Took Miller. I was thinking of Took actually, but I bought in Cogs. I was so tempted to bring in my boy Hawkins, but I had to resist. And so I bought in Cogs, and he brought out a nice score. I also decided to move Sheasel and Zeeble into my defense. Yes, I got Sheasel's kind of semi-ordinary score. However, it meant I only had less defense rookies, and I had Chandler and Chandler and Green on my forward line. So I thought the forwards were a little bit more reliable. So that kind of worked. I had Wagner instead of Wilmot, which I was kind of really like, chuffed, because I broke the rule, and I haven't kind of publicly said this but I was so desperate for a rookie when Doherty, who's back.
I know.
When Doherty went out. Oh, it's crazy. What student? What is magic juice? Someone else has been saying what juice have they been drinking? What hoodoo? But I bought in Wagner before he even played, which is like big no. And it's like I can't, play my violin. Oh, Wagner's not playing. It's like, well, Emily, you got him too late. So
yeah, we talked about it. It looked a good move last week when I was playing Ralston and Johnson and all them on field. And just unfortunately, Carnage just hit you a little weak, but at least you got some score on the field, so that was nice. And I'm very jealous of the fact that you had those rookie forwards on field scoring you so well. I was looking at my side going, oh God, I could be 110 points better right now, but oh well, I'll learn.
Yeah, well, I no Oliver, no English, no Dawson, so I don't really know how I'm actually climbing up the ranks, but I'm gonna be in trouble if because I have more midfielders, more mid prices, sorry. So I kind of feel like I'm half a premium ahead, and I don't know how, but I'm gonna be in strife soon if I can't generate some cash gen. So
yep, no, completely understandable that. Now we mentioned teams there, so we may as well just start off with that, and there's obviously some very important ones. So yeah, we'll start off with the Fremantle news. Corey Wagner omitted. So you did say you have him. He has been listed on the emergency, so worst case scenario could be he's a sub, which actually can be the best case scenario. It's one of those, if they get on early or if they unfortunately get like the McKenzie treatment and come on in the last quarter and then score like an 11, that could be a bit of a nightmare. We've got the Giants, so Ralston's dropped, Tom Green's back, so that'll keep a lot of people happy there. Is that one that you have over there, Em?
No, I don't have. Avoided that.
It'll be interesting to see how Canelio goes now with Green back in. He's had some up and down scores. So I still think he's a good option to jump on. What's his break even still sitting there at, I think, 52 or something like that. So it's, definitely a great option still to bring in. and obviously
49, very
49.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I know with you already having him, so you'd be recommending, you'd think he'd be top 6 by the end of the season.
Well, yeah, I just think he's just hopefully playing that midfield role. And, they don't, apart from, Green, they don't really have too many that they can rely on. And the thing is, yeah, I've kind of gone full circle with Cogs. I was kind of happy I didn't have him when he was doing those poo scores. And I was thinking the Giants aren't very good, which they aren't. But we just need, look, he could break down any minute, but I feel like he should be top 6, top 8. We just need a little bit reliable, and he has had the premier scores and he's got the ceiling as well. Like, he has scored 200, twice? So he was just, and DPP, which is super handy as well. I mean, I know most of them do, but that's what kind of swung me over.
Yep, 100%. That DPP, and that was what made Roberts so appealing last week, unfortunately, until he got subbed off. The Hawks and Dogs have some interesting ins and outs. So Josh Weddle, was that somebody you were looking at pre-season?
Oh, yeah, I think so, just because it made me giggle. I don't know why. Just his name.
It is a great
Whittle.
name. That, if anybody knows Josh out there, and that, so he's been named on field at halfback. So definitely somebody we're looking at. Now, I don't think you'll be going early on that one, Em, but something as a potential downgrade option for us in a couple of weeks' time. So he comes back in with Will Day. Now, Will Day, do you have him, or if you don't, are you considering?
Yeah, I was considering him. I am trying to get him in, and this is something because and it's, it sparked a debate about whether he's going to be a top 6, whether he's going to be a top 6 defender, or whether he's going to be, he'll probably be a little bit like top 10, top 12. So I think he's value of money. I wish I got him when he was, 90k cheaper. Kudos for those people, even though they've had to, if they still have him, they've had to have him on the bench for 2 weeks. What is this season?
Oh, it's unreal, isn't it? It's unreal. The moment we have somebody and that, it's like either out suspension or it's out injured, 6-week injuries, 2 weeks later, but it's just crazy. And I know there's a couple of people who went, I think it was Stewart to Doherty to, it might have even been Day. And then, you've copped all 3, which is just brutal. So,
it's crazy.
It's an absolute crazy year. For those who still have Cam McKenzie, he's been omitted, but he's on the extended bench. But Connor McDonald is there too, so he may not be the sub. For North Melbourne, Will Phillips omitted, and he is on the extended bench. So, could be back in his role as a sub. Is he another rookie that you have there, Em?
No, I missed him. I can't. It was like the dodged a bullet, and then it was like, do I want this bullet? I might want it, and then no, I've dodged it, so I don't have him.
Well, if you did own him, and that, what would you be thinking now? I'm just trying to get up his break even here, but I know he's been performing so well, and it's been frustrating not owning him. But now that there's this situation, and that was my always worry with him, that he was going to be somebody who gets, sub will drop, but his break even's now 45, with that 36 now, and he scored for a couple of weeks. So at 269, would you be looking at trading him out, or is it somebody that you think there's other players that you'd be more worried about?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would trade him out, get the money. Go. He would be the one I would be worried. Yeah, I think trade him. To whom, I don't know. I think. But
well, I'll get into a couple of those good break-even options at the moment, and maybe you can go through and give us the best ones there. Lockie Cowan's been managed. As we said, Sam Doherty is back in the side, which means Sincotta has actually kept his spot. He is starting on the bench, and that might be a bit of a worry because some people are looking at bringing him in or have already brought him in early, but he's got one more week before he comes onto the bubble, the 102k defender. your boys, Cameron Guthrie's out. And not that it's Supercoach relevant, but it is an interesting out there. So does that mean Danger continues to just go on his merry way? I brought him up last week in our chat, and and then he comes out and scores a 144. What do you actually think about not just Danger, but some of your Geelong players as it is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As I said, I was talking up Hawkins. I was on Jock Reynolds' podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, I'm eyeing off my boy. He's going to be under 400," and then he pops out 150. Hawkins didn't even make under 400, and I'm like, "Oh." Thing with Geelong, is they're a huge sub risk danger. We desperately need him for finals. So it's great that his engine's purring, but he will be rested. I don't mind him. I mean, I feel like it's too early. I wish he kind of, did that and then got really cheap for us to grab on if we manage to get it. But I don't know if we're gonna. I think at the moment it would be great to have a floating M9 or an F7 M9. But at the moment, like I could possibly not make full premium. I don't know the way things are going, so it's a bit fanciful. I just think I would put him. It's a really risky move because he is not the most durable player anymore, unfortunately, and Geelong would not risk him because they need him.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and So Guthrie. He's Samson. He's lost his powers since he cut his hair.
Yes.
So we need to wait for his hair to grow back. Very official answer.
Yes, I like that. I like that very much. Setterfield's one. Now, do you have the GOAT, or did you have him at any point? And if you still do, is that somebody you're looking at moving on?
I have Setterfield, and I brought him in, and he was looking really, really, really good. And I'm just really not sure what to do with him, but I feel like, sorry, Swiz. What are you saying?
He clearly wants to come on and talk Supercoach, which we love. And as Em's doing that with that, Zach Merritt is back this week for the Bombers. And now at the moment with Davey, which is obviously somebody we all own, he is on an extended bench. So that's one to watch, and that could be a sub-candidate as well. So an issue there for the Bombers. And then we'll get into the last two games, because Emily's playing around with her lovely boy there. But yeah, what are you saying
about that?
No, that's all right. What were you saying about Will? Instead of
he's a warm body. And he's a warm body, and yes, he's doing 70s and 80s. But he's not pushing out 23s at the moment. So I'm reluctant to move him on. And I honestly think if you're moving him on, you need to go primo.
Yeah.
You've got to step, you can't, look, I have toyed with the idea of swapping in today, and that's sidewaysy, and that just feels yuck. You need to get these really inconsistent, terrible rookies off your field. The trouble that I'm having, which we can move forward, is at the moment my trades involved warm-bodied rookies, and now I am questioning everything. And what are your thoughts on?
Yeah, it's a tough one because his scoring's gone down. Like, I feel like he's going to play that negating role a little bit, especially you probably be following Danger around this week. Now, he's got the ability to still pump out 90s and 100. So with the way the season's going and all the injuries, and we're about to talk about the two main ones now, especially as more people have jumped on, as you said, warm body. And it's really hard not to trade a warm body like that. And the bigger thing is, we've got the bigger issue where, are we even going to get full premium if these rookies don't keep coming on? Okay, Sheasel's going to become another issue, which we'll have to discuss. But, with Roberts, we're hoping for cash, and that hasn't worked out. We're probably lucky JVR, Chandler, Green are going quite well. But outside of that, a lot of the midfield rookies just have not come on. Like, yeah, okay, you've brought in Phillips, it's 100,000, or if you've brought in Ralston, you've got 60. Cohen's got us 90k, 70k. So we're just not getting the money from that. So is it looking at like you're keeping your Setterfields and you're bringing guys like your Will Days in? But then you get the other issue where people brought in Chase Jones for the same reason last week, and then look what happened. So it's a bit of buyers beware for both. And then the big issues we've got. So the first one is the Gold Coast Suns, which took Miller last week, which was shattering for myself because that's where I went and thought, let's bring in the premium. And yeah, unfortunately, out he goes, injured. So that was pretty shattering in itself. And then for the Crows, the news today that Rory Laird has done his calf and how bad it is. They're going to put him through fitness tests. They even said it could be one case where they put him through the warm-up and it might be a laid out, which would be awful because he's the last player of the last game of the round. Great for maybe your captain loopholes, or if you've already got a bench score, if one of your rookies go really well, awesome, you can hold. But at the same time, what happens if the calf, and we've seen this, players get rubbed out nominated out for 6 weeks, they're back in 2. Other players, it's a 1 week injury, and then 3-4 weeks later, where are they, sort of thing. So, and is this the opportunity with your Tukes and your Leads to go, okay, I'm going to jump on your Will Days, your Hawkins, your mid prices, and let's get these rookies off field and let's just load up on there. So there's a couple strategies there. So first off, Laird, do you have him?
I do.
What are you thinking?
And I did. Oh, well, I did toy. This is before the Wagner news. But I did toy with if I had enough money to just boost and get Day and go Laird to Oliver. I don't have that money, and it's only 30 grand, 35 grand if you're wondering, but I don't have it. And then I just didn't want to. I want to keep upgrading. I just don't want to sideways. But it really concerns me, the calf and everything. But again, I just feel like I just want to see what Baker's score, and Baker's my only warm body mid. Davies there at the moment because I'm using Roberts as a little loophole. So for my forward line. But when does Baker play? Baker plays Saturday at 4:35. So at least you can see. And then Oliver plays at night. So if I could just somehow make some money and do the swap. I don't love it, to be honest. But I don't know. I'm going through the trades, even though I feel like I'm conservative. I'm not being conservative this year with them. And, yeah, I feel like you've got to hold it, especially if it's a 1 weeker, especially if he could actually play. Do you have him?
I do. The thing that worries me is the Crows draw. So naturally misses the Pies this week, which is a good thing. But then plays your boys down in Geelong next week, which is not going to be a good road trip for the Crows. And then the Saints, Bulldogs, Lions. Like, it's as brutal as you can get as a fixture coming up. And I don't have your boy Tommy Stewart at the moment. So I think that's possibly Took there, but I also want Will Day. So it's a question of, is it one of them? Is it, say, maybe is Sheasel kind of thing, is with the North, like with North, I don't really want to move on him that early because we know he can score hundreds and he's looking fantastic. But is it a case of with a break even of 53, break even of 99, what happens if he comes out and scores another 53? Well, it's only 20k trash and then his break even goes through the roof. You know, how many weeks do I sort of give him to rebound? And they are playing the D's this week, which is naturally a massive match. But then if he is in defence, he could see a lot of ball too. So yeah, there's all these questions going through my head going, okay, how do I sort of get ahead of the game? And it's really interesting. So I'm just trying to go through all my moves as well, and that's where naturally Took's my priority. The other part is I used my third boost last week to bring Took in. So do I look at using a fourth boost and get really aggressive and go, okay, let's set this up because I want naturally Seamus Mitchell of all the rookies. Out of the options available this week, he clearly is the best. Wagner was second best, but he's out of the side now, so it's literally get on Seamus Mitchell. Sincotta we just talked about with Doherty coming back and Kemp in the side. It's I don't know how, I'm thrilled with him. So is it Mitchell, Will Day, and do I look at maybe doing a third option with a premium? Yeah, there's all these questions going through my head. For those who are watching, if you do have questions for Emily, I will start getting through to them in a moment. So definitely post them, and I'll go through and I'll get her to answer some of your questions there. But so trade options this week's going to be very interesting for, I guess, both of us. That so.
Yes, yep. And we haven't even, I think I already know the answer to this, is the Grundy. And I don't know. I feel like I didn't win because the money that Grundy got, English just gained.
Yep.
And then, it's the trade. But I didn't expect Gorn so early. And also, I had no one to trade to. In hindsight, I probably could have traded Will Setterfield. But anyway, it's okay. It's done now. But I just think, again, Grundy is a warm body. Like, he was gone halfway through that game. Like, I was already trying to wait for them to go, oh, my goodness. And I had an all right score. And I'm like, he's ruining my score. And then he had, 80 points? I don't know.
He
scored.
He ended up getting, being there at the game, so he got 81. He was absolutely dominated by Samson Ryan in the first half. And it was more a case of the young fella running out of gas, and then Grundy started getting on the spread. So you could see it. He was just outrunning him out on the wings and flanks and starting to get some of those marks and got into the game, which happens with naturally a young ruck. But so Miller was up against Gawn, and Gawn was having a field day versus Miller, and Miller ended up being sub. But Grundy, it was interesting. He got kind of schooled by the kid, and then he got a respectable 81. So definitely somebody you could hold. Break even of 132, but they are playing North Melbourne, Suns, Hawthorn coming up next 3 weeks. So there's the ability for Grundy to still score well. However, I can see people getting twitchy fingers and wanting to move. Now, if you don't have English and you've got the cash, that's the obvious one. But kind of Supercoach God's playing around with people here. The next best option is Sean Darcy. And so many people moved him on after the second week, after that 41. So he had 8% ownership drop after that, and then since then he's gone 132, 125, 136, 137. Like, if that's just the Supercoach gods playing their evil games with us. What are your thoughts on, say, Sean Darcy? Is that somebody you could trust bringing in your team?
I'd give me the shivers. So my good mate Chizo, he literally, Sean Darcy propelled him into the top 10, and he came 8th the year that I won. And it was literally Sean Darcy. And then he was like, he would die, and then he would just be like, and then it was the most stressful 3 months, I think, of Jesus' life, was watching him. And I just don't know. Like, I can afford Grundy's side swap and still do the day if I still do my trades. I really don't like it. I want to wait on Gawn. I'll wait a week, wait to see what's happening. Grundy warm body, hopefully spits out an 80 or 90, and it will be 40, 50 points. And English is what? Who is he facing against the Hawks?
Yeah, I think it'd be Ned Reeves. Is Reeves still in? That's the question. I actually had the team right here. I'll get it back up. But that looks that's who they have been rucking. Yeah, Reeves. So I think English will dominate again, probably get another 140 and just continue on his merry way. You do make a good point about looking at Gawn. It's just like he actually looked fine. He moved around the ground, but, got forward, took his marks, did everything that we know Maxi can do. And I'm just trying to see where his break here. There he is, 98 last week, which was good because his break even's gone up to 228 now. Which he has literally zero chance of getting, even with his highest career score of 212. So projected to drop about 60 to 70k this week, which will put him under 500. So it could be an absolute amazing player to bring in the following week at under 500 if you are looking at an option. So that is potentially one where you can actually make money going Grundy down to Gawn.
Yeah, I was thought of that. And also Gorn could actually get DPP as well, forward DPP maybe.
Exactly.
Depends. Yeah. The other thing is that Clarkey from Jock Reynolds, I listened to his pod and he's a Melbourne supporter, and he just said that Melbourne looked better when Grundy was in the ruck and Gorn was in the fort. Like that was actually suited there. So like maybe anyway, I'm just waiting a week. Again, warm body, as long as he doesn't, look, it's against North. So look, I think I'm just going to keep Grundy, and I've got the Gorn move, as you said. So for next week. And with English, like it's just the irony in this season. It's just I didn't get English because of injury, and he's only the bloody person who hasn't got injured.
That's right. It's unreal. I'll move over to Facebook. We'll come back to the group chat up there in a moment. So I've got a couple of questions. I've had David ask about what's your thoughts about Braden Fiorini or even any of those Gold Coast midfielders now that Tuke's out for a long-term injury. Is that any of them kind of interest you in any way?
I'm not sure.
I'll give some. And it's hard because of the Gold Coast there. But so Matty Rowe's currently at 460k, scored a 124 on the weekend. Obviously we've got Noah Anderson there with the 541, but only scored the 89. And then you got Braden Fiorini who's come on and scored a 79. Break even of 46, but he is 311. So it's kind of a weird price there. So does any of those thrill you?
Matty Rowe.
Yeah.
Matty Rowe. It's the only one that piqued my interest. Someone tweeted or messaged and said about it. But he's still a mid-pricer, and you have to be pretty desperate. Look, he's got the ceiling. Like, what role has he been playing? I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, so I went up. I saw your game against them. And I've actually seen the Suns, I think, play 3 times this year already. I'm going to see them again on the weekend. And he's been playing kind of that more defensive midfielder around stoppages. Still, always, a handball first kind of situation. But naturally, when Tuke went off, he kind of, the big thing he's probably did on the weekend was the tackling. So because we all know how Tuke racking up those tackles. We had 12 tackles on the weekend. So, but then they were playing North Melbourne, so was that because their midfielders maybe not as good and he can get around them? But they do have not a bad draw. Richmond, unfortunately, Melbourne and then West Coast next 3 games. But yeah, as you said, he is that mid-pricer, and is he really going to be a keeper? But then if you're short on cash, it might be an option to go to and potential stepping stone and hope Tuke's out long term. Not that we want Tuke out long term, but that could be definitely maybe one of those left field plays that actually comes and pays off for people there.
I don't mind it if you want to. If you want to take the risk and you want to do that, I prefer Will Day in the defence. Personally,
and we've definitely got a question about that on their fantasy with AST. Yes, I'm going well, thanks, mate. Is Day the real deal, or do we go say Merritt or Parrish? Well, it's not a 20k difference. We'll get onto that in a moment. But yes, do you think Will Day is the real deal? And I've actually had that same question from Mark Elliott, and that do you think he could be a top 6 to 8 defender? So I'll let you go with Will.
Oh, yeah, look, top 6, probably not. But will he make money, and will he be a warm body, and will be a D6? And probably. Like, I want Supercoach with Stephen May as my D6.
I've loved Stephen May in Supercoach. He's been awesome for me as well. I think I had him as well with you. So
he got
I do like
or
it.
Something, yeah. And he does okay. He hasn't got the ceiling of Stewart. He just pumps out his little 90s. Sometimes he's 110s. I love and the strong hands. Yeah, no, I loved it. I typed May, capital M, so much that when I said I may come, my autocorrect turned it into a capital M. I typed Stephen May so much. And but
so yeah, Will Day, can he be him? Yeah.
Yes.
I think so as well. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, is he the real deal? Yeah, no, like he's got the role. And I said earlier today when I was talking to Al Patton, he's the coach came out and talked about him on Footy Classified. And if the coach is singling out a certain player, that's always a good sign. So No, I like that. And the last one I've got there from Facebook. Yeah, we've actually answered the Dangerfield. That was one of the questions. Is Supercoach Mama bringing in Danger? Any chance? Which I love. That's great. All right, going back here, we've got So Parish and Merritt aren't that price is listed because there's not a 20k difference. So we will clear that up. So Parish. Now he is one that's interesting, but so he is 555. He's got a break even of 101, and then actually playing the Cats this week. Free agent, still out of contract, and then you got Zachy Merritt 578, averaging 107, break even of 87. The Bombers have a horrific draw next 3 weeks: Geelong, Port Adelaide, Brisbane, and then it really opens up for them: Richmond, West Coast, North Melbourne, Carlton, Freo, Adelaide. Any interest in the Essendon boys and that? Would they be in your plans coming into sort of that period where they've got those softer games?
Yeah, well, I have this rule, get Merritt after the bye. Works really well. Except he hasn't got the memo. He's doing a little bit too well. He needs to go cheaper. and then he needs to show enough potential for you to go, yeah, I'll get Merritt again after the bye. And then he goes, oh yeah, this football thing. He just goes, oh yeah, I remember this. I don't know what happens. It's a thing. Like, it's literally a thing. He scores his first half to his second half. I don't know what, some guru tell me what it is.
Yeah,
but, it actually really is.
I think, but maybe now that he's got the captaincy, is it kind of different? That's why he's come out with a bit of a bang this year instead of starting slow like he has in the past.
Yeah, maybe. Parrish, I'm not sure. Is he just now, Chizo, please don't be listening, he loves Parrish, but is he just like an Audi, like Tom Mitchell? Like, he just loves like so many possessions, but I don't know if he I don't know if I can have another really high dependent disposal player who doesn't really use it very, very well in my team. I mean, he's okay, but look, I know he had that huge year, but I think I prefer Zeret over that. But if I don't mind them again. If you're really running out of money, I don't mind either of those Essendon boys. Maybe just wait, see how they go, and then get them a little bit later after that run that you were saying, Dave.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to go up that too much money. And we're interesting watching Parrish last week when the Bombers were smoking the Pies and that he could not get near that ball. Last quarter, he has like a 60-point quarter when the Pies run all over them and kick 7 goals. So maybe the harder run will suit him, but it just seemed like he came back into the game when he was having to put up defensive pressure, and he was the only Bomber that looked likely in that last quarter. So, yeah, no, definitely very, very interesting one there. We've answered about holding Grundy. Yes, definitely hold him this week, we think, and then wait until see how much Gawn. Like, Gawn's going to drop 70k, so yeah, just hold that one. From Jolpit, they should drop Aaron Hall and keep Sheasel half back, ruin the whole structure. So, what are your thoughts there with Sheasel? We did talk about, we've got other issues instead, but if it was a case where Aaron Hall is playing that half-back role, how soon would you be looking to move him on, or would you it's just a case that he's, again, a warm body that it's not that big of an issue compared to some of the other ones we have?
Depends. If he start playing forward, get him out of my team, because he can, I don't want him to start doing 40s, 30s, 40s. I'm just having a look at the moment, and Sheasel is half back on the team. I know the team sheets. I can hear you. I don't mean anything. I know.
You don't even have to say it.
I know, but it makes me feel better.
Yes. No, I agree. Every week I look at the team sheet, it's like, oh, yes, he's at half back. And then, first bounce, and they're sitting on the interchange bench. I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. Oh, and then, Hall's right next to him. So, I think next week, he was a bit banged up, apparently, Sheasel. But if he has a really high break even, I don't know. I think he's worth a lot of money. I just think it would be good to just possibly make that into a premium. But we all know what happens. We all know what happens we all ditch Dacos. Well, some of us ditched Dacos, some of us
some
ditched
of
Cogs.
us. Yep. Right here.
And and it hurt. Oh, it hurt so much. So just please, just a bit of patience because we're running out of trades. We're running out of trades fast. And we haven't even got to like the long part of the season.
No, we haven't. It's a longer part. Abdul, if you're listening to this, how many trades do you have, buddy? Because I'm sure the rumor was you've used your boosts and stuff. And I had a mate today. It's like, oh, I haven't used the boost yet. I'm like, yeah, you can go away. I don't want to talk to you.
No.
Ben's put up a question, and that thanks for joining us there, Benny boy. I know he's just put out his, I think each team in 30 seconds or whatever he does there on that. So check that out. Saying he's a bit dehydrated. Bailey Smith's back for the Doggies, so he did pick up forward status. He's got a break even of 118, playing the Hawks up this week, and then they've got the Giants, Blues, Adelaide, Suns. Forward option M.
Oh. He could ruck, couldn't he?
He could do anything. Magneto could make him do anything.
Oh, I just don't know. I mean, Bond's the only doggy that I currently have. I was thinking of Smith. I'm so glad that I did it. I was thinking of Smith before, in preseason. I'm just saying 503.
It's expensive. It's the only relevance he's got is because he's got the forward status, and that's the big one. And that, like, break even of 118, you don't have to go early on that. I think it's a wait and see, and definitely monitor him. But he could be one potentially, because he could I can see what's going to happen. He's going to come out and score 140 against the Hawks this week, go up slightly in value, and we're all going to be scrambling to get Bailey Smith into our team, and then he's just going to go back to his 70s and 80s and absolute stuff us. But guaranteed, come back next week and I feel like I'm going to be right on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I prefer the one who's concussed at the moment, unfortunately. I prefer Libba.
Yep. He's been flying. He's unfortunately he'll be frustrated because it's Bont's 200th this week, so he'll be absolutely shattered he missed that. But yeah, the 141, 101, 140 has been his last 3 weeks, and as we just said, that soft draw 612. It's a little bit more expensive than what it would have cost you at the start of the year, with now 35k more. But is that somebody you would be considering?
Maybe. The best Bulldogs have around 15 bye.
Yes. How is actually they do have around 15 bye. Yeah.
Yeah.
How is on that? How is your buy structure, and how much thought do you actually give? Is this did you plan that from the start of the year, or is it now that when you're bringing players in and you're like, oh, actually now I've got too many round 15 players, and sorry mate, you can't get into this side?
A little bit like that. I kind of have a look just to see how uneven it is when I'm near the end of, like, it's almost lockout of preseason. But I don't really do too much otherwise. And then now I start paying more and more attention because players can get and now with the boosts,
the boost we used to have.
We used to have. So I just feel like now is the time to start thinking about that round 15 buy. I'm actually not doing too bad. I'm just trying to find the place where you can actually find out what your buy structure is. And it has a nice little time.
Yeah, it does. In my team, so this is for other people, if you don't know that too, if you go up to tools, and it says show buys as the last drop down option. Now that's one, if you've got to have Supercoach Gold for this, otherwise then you're going to be going through the other channels. But yeah, if you click on, and then it gives you 12, 13, 14, 15, and then it will highlight which players you have in that round. So definitely a good tool if you have it.
Yep, and there's also, if you go on, the My Team and My Team analysis, it actually summarise how many defenders, mids, forwards you have. Yeah, that's what you. Yeah, that's new. That's really good. Awesome.
Yep. So that's definitely something to look at if you are trying to plan out your buys. And definitely this is the time when you're bringing in the premiums. I really would like to bring Jackson McRae, but I'm the same. I'm like, how many round 15 guys can you actually bring in? But then you bring in round 12, you know that player's got an early buy. Round 13 is the best. That's why I was bringing in Tuke. That's why I'm definitely looking at Stewart this week, because it's going to be best 18 and there's only 2 teams missing. So that's definitely something. All right, we'll get into a couple of these questions because there's some couple real good ones coming in. Gordon, what should people be doing with him?
I just feel like I'm just repeating myself
warm
here.
body kind of, yep.
Like, yeah, I'm a little bit sad that I got into the trap. The trap.
Yes, that's what we'll call him. He's the trap.
Let's just see how he does next.
If you didn't have Canelio and you've got Gordon, would you be making that sideways trade?
Depends who your D6. If your D6 Cohen, who's not playing, or Wilmont, who bought a 39, then I would focus on that. Or
would you go Gordon then to Will Day via loophole? If you said you moved Siebel or Sheasel to the back line last week, would you move one of them forward to replace Gordon and bring in Will Day?
I have had this thought too. Depends how many trades you have.
Yep.
I would be tempted with that. I just think just keep him for a little bit longer. Like, this is the lowest score that he's put out. Let's just give him a little bit longer. But yeah.
It's a good one, isn't it?
I bought him Wagner before he played. So
yes.
like, seriously, if you want to do it, like, it's just, you've got to know, are you going to complete your team? We need to stop side trading sometime. Try to focus on making your team, those rookies, get off the field. But the situation I have is I was going to trade McKenna and Wilmot for Mitchell and Day, except I don't have a defence bench. So now Cowan, Wagner, and now I'm trading 2 of my defenders who are actually playing and still will play. And I don't want to give in McKenna because I think, they're playing Freo. Their break-even's not that high. I mean, let me do my little Supercoach Plus. So McKenna's B is 62 and Wilmot's is 38.
That's manageable. You can get that. So it's one of those things now. Like, I'm looking the same. I'm like, yeah, McKenna, you're going to get out of my side, but now you probably stay because I've got other issues and other players that aren't playing, and I kind of would like a bench defender.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know what I'm doing with Day, how I'm getting Day. I feel like Mitchell, what's his first name? It's a really cool first name. Seamus. I feel like Seamus is I think he looks like a really good, I don't know about his job security, but they had lots of people coming in and he's still in there and he's playing really well. So, bring him in. Do you feel like you're comfortable fielding him?
If I could loophole him, much better. But
yeah, I know.
if I've got to field him, I'm hoping most of the competition are as well. Now that Cowan's out, that's my hope. It's just like, people bring in Seamus, or I'll have to bring in. If I end up I'm actually planning to maybe load up my defense, and I'm actually leaning towards that Day, Stewart, Mitchell, which would be 3 defenders in, which then
wow,
yeah, because my defense looks awful, just genuine pie. So it's like, okay, how can I fix that? LDU, what are your thoughts on him? He has just not come along as well as we were expecting. Like, his pre-season was awesome. Played the Weagles and Freo first 2 weeks, which have shown they aren't that great. And he's the same boat as Brayshaw, where they're nearly getting to the point where they're going to bottom out and could become people's pickups during the bye if they turn around their form. I feel like you've got to kind of hold, but if you don't have any of the other issues everybody else has, maybe he is one that you kind of move. D's, Saints, Port, Sydney, Collingwood next 5 weeks for North. That could get real ugly for them.
Yeah, I don't think he's 100%. And what's with Brayshaw? He's got a foot injury that he's been managing all season. Well, that would have been nice for those people who got Brayshaw in, hey? I'd be like, well, where was...
transparency in AFL is awful. Like, even to the point when we were talking when I said JP and I caught up with Heater, and his brother works for a club and wasn't giving him accurate information about the Gold Coast players. I'm like, what chance do we have if the information comes out? They've got nothing to gain. They just should be more transparent with this sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's very frustrating. Ben, how dare you skip on my Parish Combank versus Titch Rams home loans comparison on that? Do you have a bank preference there, Em, on that? So moving on. Sinclair's Hippo's gone. Day or Sinclair this week? If you had to choose one.
I had to choose one. Yes. Does Steele, who actually did play really not that great, he actually benefits Sinclair, doesn't he?
He does. Well, it definitely didn't help Steele, but yeah, very good for Sinclair sort of go back in that defensive role. But he still only scored the 105. Like I was telling people last week, don't necessarily jump on him this week. And he's still got a break even of 117. So I think Day with his break even of 15 is the one. And maybe just see how Jack Steele keeps going. Like, he's not a rush to get in. Is he going to come out and, like I said last week with his break even, is he going to come out and smash that? Probably unlikely. Is he going to come out and score a 140? Even if he does, he only goes up 9K. Like, it's not the end of the world.
No, and his scores haven't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's worth or not. He's a 90K. I feel like Will Day for me. But if you want that definite top six defender, then go Sinclair. But
yep, no, I like that. On that, where is our boy Jackie Steele? I'm just trying to scroll through and see what he did last week. 54, so he's got a break even of 169. Definitely somebody to look at. So he hopefully should drop another 60K and get to about 490. Which would be amazing because we know what he can do. So hopefully get some fitness over the next couple of weeks and look at him as a possible target. I think off the top, the Saints do they have the first bye? They do. So he could even potentially.
First bye.
The only problem is to have a really good draw before the bye. But yeah, he could be one. Hopefully he doesn't go up too much and pick up straight after the bye. To Gilbert bye rounds. So what happens is you get your best 18 on field. And then you're looking at so you want to make sure you've got 18 players playing each week for that. So if you've got, say, a lot of Bulldogs players, and I think the Doggies are in there with, I think it's the Giants, where are we here, around 15? Carlton, North Melbourne, Port Adelaide and Richmond. So you're looking, like your forward line there, like it's Zeeble, Sheasel, know that they can play defence now. You got Taranto, Rosie, Cornelio, and then in the midfield, you Crippses, Walshes, Bont, LDU, Libba, Kelly. So if you've got a lot of those sort of players, you're not bringing in any more. Look at your other rounds and bring that, and that's how you sort of spread out your buys. Freddie, we just covered about thoughts on LDU, and then I think you've still got to probably hold. But if you've got nothing else to trade out, it might be time to move him on before he drops even more cash. They have a horrific draw coming up. S-Kick, should I trade Liam Baker now that Jaden Short is back? So watching that game, Jaden Short was absolutely awesome. Was playing in that half-back role, 30 touches. If he was to get dual position, again, somebody I'd definitely want because he's the perfect player in that position. But yes, it did really hurt Baker. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that, Em?
No, I'll leave it to the Tiger Man.
Yeah. I thought that was probably directed at myself. So yeah, that really does hurt. But the thing with Baker this week, Prestia is out. So there's a chance that either Short plays midfield or Baker goes in there. So I'd hold for this week and see what happens there. And then, and especially with not just Prestia, but Took. So there's going to be plenty of points going around. So definitely consider that.
Can I just say that there is a little hole missing in me for not having Jaden Short in my team. I had Jaden Short in my team for like 3 years straight. And it's like, I don't have him in my team. It's just like, he's frustrating sometimes, but I'm like,
I love him.
I
was at the VFL and watching my cousin play, and this was, I think, last season, Dylan Grimes magically forgot his wallet and Short comes up and goes, "Oh, I'll pay for your skip. It's all good." And that's, "Oh, you're a sweetheart, Shorty." Going through, it's will Mills get dual position player as he's on your radar? So I think Mills pumped up 2% on the weekend, which puts him to 29%. But he would have to play heavily in the defence over the next 3 weeks to get it. So if he was to play 80-90% defence this week, awesome. But I don't think they do that. So is he on the radar? Well, he's still a great player as a midfielder, but he is actually, has been probably struggling, and so have a few of those ones. So definitely somebody come by time, potentially. Like last year, I've told that story where I was on the boys' trip going. It was this round. It was Anzac weekend, and I was looking between Mills and somebody else, and I kept trading back and forward. I was like, "No, I'm not going Mills. I don't want to sit there be disappointed watching him play." And then he went that 200 and something, and
no,
it was so frustrating. And he went up about 60k, and it's like, "Well, there's Mills gone. It's not happening." So. Yeah, no, very, very frustrating. What's your thoughts on trading Wilmot and Phillips to Mitchell and Day, but holding Ralston and Roberts? Should you be trying to get out, as you said, the warm bodies or that, or should you be trying to maybe move your Ralstons or your Roberts and just at least getting cash gen onto your bench?
Yeah, I think he think the person answered his own question. I think. Look, yeah, I don't have the perfect answer because I still want to upgrade while still trying to keep a rookie. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. But I was just heartbroken. Roberts is 8 to 10 weeks.
Yep.
Like, it's so cruel. And I did waste a trade. Look, I ummed and out about it, but I actually traded Chesser to Roberts last week because I'm like, I've got too many donuts. And I still upgraded. I still got cogs. But I think try to work it out that you're still getting rid of one of your dead rookies and still upgrading. Just try to make it work. It's my recommendation.
On Twitter, Anders has asked, so he was going to move on Cowan and McKenna for Stewart and Mitchell, but he goes, should I stick with the 2 down? Or is it better to go, 1 down, 1 up and look at the cogs Sinclair as one of his options? Do you prescribe to people going double down to try to get the premium the following week, or is it better even just to use your boost these days and go 2 down, get the premium, because are you losing too many points for the rest of the competition?
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance, and it's like if the rookies are there, but just go with the rookies. I don't know. It's a really tough one. I find, but do you go with the boost? Depends how many boosts you've used. It depends on, it's a real, I don't know. It's just go with your gut, I think, with that one.
Yep, exactly. What are you thinking vice captain options this week?
Oh, that's a good question. I've just been going. I've just been winging it and just been trying to get a good VC because I don't have a lot of the captain options. So currently, I've just gone. He did a well formula. I've just gone Bont at the moment as my VC, and I did have Dacos as the captain, but now Adelaide are going to tag him if they can tag him. I don't know how long they'll tag him for. So I don't know, but so sadly I don't have English. Otherwise, he would be definitely a VC. Or how do you think Neil will go against his old side? How does he go against his old side?
I think he goes fairly well. There's do they try to probably lock him down? Is that fair? Does Aish go to him? There's that possibility. So that does concern me a little bit there. I think if you've got one of the Bulldogs versus the Hawks, it's really hard to pass on English or Bont again as the couple options. Naturally, Clary versus North Melbourne.
Yeah.
And the natural outs, because we've got, I think, Constable versus the Tigers. Laird could be that late out against the Crows. We do have some later options this week as our even West Coast with Chesser on the Saturday night if those people still have him. So plenty of loophole options. What about?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. What about Dacos? Would you consider him now as a captain option?
Do you doubt the Dacos? Do you doubt the Nick? Do you doubt him? I don't know. If Bont fails, I might just risk it for the biscuit, I guess. How good are their taggers? Who would tag?
I think Ben Keys could be the one. Yeah, that could be the worry there. I think he burns him off as the game goes on, but he could definitely be somebody who could be locked down to say 30 at half time, and then how much can he burn him for the rest of the game? So that's probably my only worry, because Ben Keys could do that because he is actually a midfielder who's playing forward. He can. The hard thing with Dacos is he's one of these 3 position players, so it's really hard to stop somebody, because if he's in the midfielder, the defender's not going to go with him. If pushed us back down to defence, well, the midfielder's going to stay there. So how many players in the competition can sort of play those different positions and still fit? So if he pushes down to defence, well, then that player needs to actually have some forward craft about them too. They can't just be sitting there trying to lock down Dacos the entire time. So that it does make him hard to tag. And is there other players that you're trying to back your own system, and we've seen how damaging Pendles and Sidey and all those guys can be as too. So and Degoe in particular, like Degoe is absolutely flying. So would you rather put attention into Degoe before you put into Dacos? That's the other question for her. And so that's an interesting one. Jeremy Cameron, thoughts about him as a pod?
Yes. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yes, I think he's just having that magic juice that like the injured players are having. I think Jeremy Cameron's having that just for fun. He's just on another level.
He just said, I've never seen a player who's part-time footballer, full-time farmer, and that's exactly what Jeremy Cameron is. Probably just gives him that free spirit to play. Actually, this is a good question, Tyler. Thank you for this, because this is a guy I am seriously considering. Walsh. What do you think about Sam Walsh if you've got Laird or Took and you're wanting to move one of them out?
Well, I wanted to mention Walsh before, but he's got a round 15 bye.
That's the problem again, isn't it?
Yeah, I love Walsh. I've been wanting to keep my eyes. Yeah, again, one of the players that I love having in my team, that I've missed having in my team. So, yes, Walsh. And Oliver's going to be in my team forever. I don't know why he's not in my team. But, yes, no, Walsh. If it works out, if you just look at your buy, but I am definitely for Walsh. He looks a little bit better. He was a little bit rusty, but yes.
Yeah, he's still got a big break even of 117. So, but they are playing West Coast. So he's just come off a game where he's had 38 touches against St Kilda, and that's always a danger. Is okay, what is he going to do in the open spaces against the Eagles? If they put no attention to him, there's the potential to go big, and we've seen it in the past. Like, he does have a high score of 193. So is this the week Walsh he just absolutely goes nuts? And that's if his mate Patrick Cripps doesn't do it as well. So the Blues, they're on the rebound, so they might be trying to fill their pockets this week against the Eagles. So if you're going to probably jump on, I'll usually go, I'll break even at 117, but yeah, he could be definitely one to consider there.
Just back to Cameron, he's 591. I just feel like he will be at a lot. He can't keep going like this.
Yeah, he's surely going to have to put in a bad game and drop at some point. Surely. Yeah,
so it goes a break even of 100, 115. He's got a highest score against Essendon of 102, which he might break. And then Adelaide doesn't play very well against Richmond. Sorry,
he absolutely loves us.
So yes, I'm woohoo! Look at that.
So that could be it. You probably have a break even about 180 and come out and kick 10 against us. Global, where's Sam Berry gone? That's a good question. I had him a few drafts and I was like, yeah, this kid's going to be their next thing. It's probably because Rory Sloane's back fit. Like all their players, they've pushed Ben Keys out because they've got no choice. So, and the Crows have been winning. So it's gone from, oh, we're going to blood all these kids to, hey, these, they've got Sigilio, I've just butchered that. Rochelle has also been pushing in the midfield and he looks fantastic. So unfortunately, Berry's been the one that's been pushed out. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I feel like they're doing the opposite of Hawthorn. Hawthorn have just kind of, all the young kids are coming in and tanking. No, definitely not. I'm just having a look just for future. Sam Simpson, he should be named. He's currently third on the bench for Geelong. I've had some people who wanted to go early asking me about him. He's an absolute gun. He was in our top 22 and then he kind of got kicked out for injury. I think he had some concussion issues and then he just couldn't get back into the team. Premiership winning team. But now I think he looks fantastic. Stengel's out. I don't know. He's not really replacing Stengel, but look, Guthrie's out. So he will give a good crack. I'm not a Chris Scott mind reader. Like Chris Scott could be on a completely different planet with that. And I just feel like Chris Scott has his guys that he likes and the ones he doesn't. And you just don't know which, and it doesn't relate necessarily with what you see on the footy field sometimes. Because there must be things behind that he values. So I reckon Zach Guthrie would have not been playing for AFL if it wasn't for Chris Scott but he saw something, and I reckon Zach Guthrie must work his absolute butt off, and he's improved so much, and now he's a great player. But he wasn't that player, and we kept playing him.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is
100%. We had that in Daniel Rioli. He was a whipping boy down at Richmond, and that. But Dimmer absolutely loved him. Let's find a role for him. Got him in half back. And now, reaping the rewards. Yeah, so I agree with that Zach Guthrie call. So, yeah, how much... I know the players really like Simpson, but then you get that because, you see the hard work they put in when they keep getting injuries and coming back from that. But does the coach feel the same way? Not necessarily, so...
CV, look, I will probably, if he plays well and he's named next week, look, I'll probably get him... to be honest, if things are looking good, but I would definitely not go early on him.
Yeah. To answer those questions asking about, I think Alex answered that. Yes, if you don't have Stewart like me, he's a priority. Especially in the following week, you're playing down at Geelong against Adelaide. He could do anything, but the Bombers' forward line isn't that crash hot either. So he could potentially just zone off all day, and then you start getting towards us, and we know what he did against us last year. So there's some nice games for Stewart coming up, and his break even now is 98. I did say, I didn't go him on the week where he went really well against West Coast, which I kind of wanted to, but I knew he would still able to drop a little bit of cash. So in the end, I think it's only cost me 25k, which I can live with. But this now is, I think, the week to get him in. Break even of 98. So if you don't have him, you probably do need Stewart.
You don't need to. I don't need to say anything. Just get him. I've got him twice this year. He gets injured again. No, Emily, what's Tim Stewart doing in the team? No, don't talk to me about it.
Oh, it's going to happen and that. All right. Well, thank you for everybody tuning in. We're going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for coming on, and that we really are going to hope. Fingers crossed that you keep up these good scores and become a 2-time winner. That would be absolutely amazing. Maybe going too early on that, but where are you actually ranked at the moment?
So round one, thanks to my Tom Stewart's 18, I was 77,000, and now I'm 1,700.
It's beautiful.
So yeah.
It's
I don't know if I'm going to keep climbing, but we'll see. I'm trying to play the smart game with the picking the trying to actually think about the VC and the captain and the loopholes and everything, and trying to score those extra points. As JP says, the points really do matter, and you've got to, even the 10, 20, 30 points, you do that 24, 23 rounds, it adds up considerably. So that's the difference between, winning and losing. So I'm definitely not going to win Supercoach. I'm just going to try to hopefully get in the top 1,000 and hopefully stay there. So
I've already said it. We're renaming it to Mama Coach if you win again.
No.
It's but we've said it. JP said it last year. He was ranked really high after 6 rounds. I've said it. I was 13,000 around the buys and still finished top 500. So yeah, make those trades. Keep plugging away. If you had a few point of differences like you did last week, and if you can somehow escape the carnage, which is easier said than done because it is a lot of luck with that, but there is still potential, and maybe it is the strategy. I've said, if you are ranked 50, 60,000, why not maybe go a few of these mid prices? Like if it doesn't come off, well, big deal. Like you're still, worse off. But if it does pay off of you, I know a couple of people jumped on Himmelberg last week, and he's been scoring well, and some of those left field options that other people aren't on. Or if you had Dangerfield, for example, last week, and nobody else has got that midfielder going 144. Crazy to think some of these older guys, and I know you don't like the people over 30, but it seems to be paying off. You got Pendles and Danger and all these old guys just showing these youngsters how it's done. So maybe that is the way some people keep going.
No, I keep going. I've tossed that rule. It's a stupid rule. They've just got injured anyway. But anyway, look, I did say durability was going to be the key. I just didn't know. It was just kicking me.
It's fantastic.
Oh, why did I say that, Dave? Why did I say that? It's going to be a long season this year.
I think you said that on Fox Footy as well. That's
yeah, I did.
That's the best thing about it.
Stop it.
Oh, it's fantastic. No, thank you so much for coming on. That we always appreciate that, and and I'll be back doing my team review later. So check out that, guys, and continue to support our channel. Thank you so much. Thank you, Emily.
No problem.
Bye.